Welcome to the Wealth Pocket. Most people won't fail in life. They'll do everything right. They'll wake up early, go to work, pay their bills, save a little, avoid risks, follow rules, and still, they'll reach old age realizing something terrifying. They worked for decades, but they don't actually own anything that pays them back. No real assets, no leverage, no freedom, just memories of effort. This video isn't about blaming anyone. It's about exposing a system that rewards obedience, not ownership. Because in today's world, if you don't own income-producing assets, you are the product. Stay with me. The illusion of progress. From the outside, most lives look successful. A job, a car, a home, a routine. But look closer. That car, owned by the bank. That house, owned by the bank for the next 25 years. That job, owned by the company, and it can disappear overnight. We confuse access with ownership. You don't own your lifestyle. You're renting it with your time. And every month, the rent is due again. Miss a few payments, the illusion collapses. Trading time for survival. The biggest lie we're told is this. Work hard and you'll be fine. But working hard only guarantees one thing. You'll keep working. Time is the only asset you truly own. And most people sell it for just enough money to survive. Think about it. You don't get paid based on value. You get paid based on time spent. That means, no work equals no income. No energy equals no income. No youth equals no income. This isn't stability. This is dependency. The endless loop. Here's the cycle most people never escape. Get educated. Get employed. Get comfortable. Get stuck. Comfort is the real trap. Comfort convinces you that tomorrow will be the same. Your job is safe. You have time. But comfort slowly removes urgency. And urgency is what creates ownership. By the time people realize they need assets, they're already exhausted. Why the system loves workers. The system doesn't hate you. It just needs you to work, not own. Workers, pay taxes first. Get paid last. Take all the risk. Owners, get paid first. Use leverage. Control systems. That's why ownership is never taught in school. They teach you how to follow instructions, how to meet deadlines, how to obey authority. But they never teach how money works, how assets compound, how ownership creates freedom. That knowledge is dangerous, because it makes people independent. What ownership actually means. Ownership isn't about being rich. It's about control. Owning something means, it pays you even when you rest. It grows without your daily presence. It creates options. Ownership looks like businesses, equity, intellectual property, digital assets, systems that work without you. You don't need to own everything. You just need to own something that works while you sleep. Why most people never start. So why don't people own assets? 3 reasons. 1. Fear. Ownership involves responsibility, and fear prefers safety over freedom. 2. Conditioning. People are trained to believe someone else knows better. 3. Distraction. Endless entertainment keeps people busy, but not wealthy. Ownership requires boredom, focus, patience. Most people are never taught to sit long enough to build the shift that changes everything. The moment life changes is when you stop asking, how much do I get paid? And start asking, what do I own? Even small ownership matters. Skills that scale, platforms that grow, assets that compound. You don't need permission to own. You just need awareness. And awareness is where freedom begins. Final reality check. One day, everyone stops working. The question is, will your income stop too? Because effort ends, but ownership continues. Most people will work their whole life and own nothing. But that doesn't have to be you. If this video made you think, you're already ahead of most people. Most people imagine failure as something dramatic. Losing everything, going broke, making one bad decision. But that's not how life ends for most people. It ends quietly, after decades of waking up early. After decades of doing the right thing. They reach the finish line and realize nothing they worked for actually belongs to them. No systems, no income that survives them. No leverage, just a lifetime of effort that stopped the moment they did. Busy, but not building. Modern life keeps people constantly busy. Meetings, deadlines, payments, responsibilities. But being busy isn't the same as building something that lasts. Most people are running in place. They earn right pointing arrow, spend right pointing arrow, repeat. They don't move forward, they stay afloat. And staying afloat feels like progress. Until the waves get bigger. The ownership illusion. People think they own things because their name is on paperwork. But ownership today is mostly symbolic. Your house owns you through debt. Your car owns you through payments. Your job owns you through dependency. You don't control these things. They control your decisions. Real ownership gives you options. Fake ownership gives you obligations. Most people confuse the two. Selling life 1 hour at a time. Time is the most valuable resource on earth. Yet most people sell it cheaply. They exchange hours for income, knowing the deal expires when their energy does. This creates a dangerous reality. Your income is tied to your health, your age, your ability to keep showing up. That's not security. That's survival with good marketing. Why comfort is so effective? The system doesn't trap people with force. It traps them with comfort. Just enough money, just enough stability, just enough hope. Comfort delays action, and delayed action is how decades disappear. Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they wait too long to question the path. Workers versus owners. Every society runs on two roles. Those who maintain systems, and those who own them. Workers keep the machine running. Owners decide where it goes. Workers are rewarded with wages. Owners are rewarded with control. And control is the only thing that scales without effort. That's why ownership is rare. It's never encouraged, only admired from a distance. Why people avoid ownership? Ownership sounds attractive, but feels uncomfortable. Because ownership means no guarantees, no clear path, no one to blame. Most people were trained for instructions, not independence. They were taught how to fit into systems, not how to build one. So they stay where it feels familiar, even if familiar is expensive. The question that changes everything. At some point, everyone should ask themselves one question. If I stop working, what keeps paying me? For most people, the answer is silence. But the moment you ask that question, you start seeing life differently. You stop chasing raises. You start looking for leverage. Ownership doesn't begin with money. It begins with thinking the quiet advantage. Most people will work their entire life and own nothing. Not because they're incapable, but because no one ever told them there was another way. Now you know, and knowing changes everything. Effort ends. Ownership continues. Choose wisely. No one warns you about how life actually ends. It doesn't end in chaos. It ends in routine. One last alarm, one last commute, one last paycheck, and then silence. That's when most people realize something terrifying. They spent their entire life working, but nothing they built can stand without them. When they stop moving, everything stops. A life that looks successful. From the outside, it all looks fine. A job, a schedule, responsibilities, respect. But success today is carefully staged. You're praised for showing up, rewarded for obedience, promoted for compliance. And slowly, without noticing, your identity becomes your function. You don't ask, what do I own? You ask, what's expected of me? That question costs people their future. The silent trade nobody mentions. There is a deal being made every day. You give your time, they give you enough to survive. Not enough to escape, just enough to continue. This is the quiet trade. Your energy for stability, your curiosity for predictability, your potential for comfort, and because it happens slowly, most people never realize they agreed to it. When time becomes the enemy. In the beginning, time feels unlimited. I'll do it later, once things settle down, after I'm more secure. But time doesn't warn you when it changes sides. One day, you're not planning anymore. You're maintaining, and maintenance is where dreams go to die quietly. Because maintenance keeps you busy, but never free. The psychology of dependence. Dependence is powerful because it feels responsible. You rely on a paycheck. You rely on a system. You rely on permission. And over time, reliance becomes identity. People don't stay trapped because they're weak. They stay because leaving feels dangerous. The system doesn't need to lock doors. Fear does the job for free. The day the illusion breaks. For some people, the illusion cracks late in life. A layoff, a health issue, a forced retirement. That's when they realize they weren't building anything. They were just maintaining access. Access to money, access to housing, access to dignity. Access disappears the moment usefulness ends. Ownership does not. Why most people never change. Change requires confronting a painful truth. No one is coming to save me. Most people avoid ownership because ownership removes excuses. No boss to blame, no system to point at, no safety net to hide under. Freedom demands accountability, and accountability terrifies people more than poverty. So they stay. The question that haunts. Ask yourself this, honestly. If you stopped working tomorrow, what survives you? For most people, the answer is nothing. No systems. No assets. No leverage. Just absence. But the moment that question makes you uncomfortable, you've already stepped outside the trap. Discomfort is the beginning of awareness. The unspoken choice. Most people will work their whole life and own nothing. Not because they're incapable, but because they were conditioned to trade freedom for safety. Life doesn't ask loudly, it asks quietly, every day. Do you want comfort now, or control later? Most people choose comfort. You don't have to. No one tells you how it ends. No music, no applause, no meaning, just a final alarm clock that never rings again. And suddenly, everything you were becomes irrelevant. A useful life. Your value was never who you were. It was what you could produce. When you were useful, you were respected. When usefulness fades, so does attention. That's the rule no one says out loud. The trade. You traded years for certainty. You traded curiosity for routine. You traded potential for predictability. And the deal felt fair. Because it happened slowly, one paycheck at a time. Time doesn't ask permission. You thought time was on your side. But time doesn't negotiate. One day, you stop building. You start maintaining. And maintenance is where ambition suffocates quietly. Access is not ownership. Everything you thought you owned was conditional. The house, the income, the respect, all rented, paid for with your presence. Once you leave, so does everything else. Why you stayed? You didn't stay because you were weak. You stayed because fear felt responsible. Responsibility became a cage you defended. Freedom felt reckless, so you avoided it. The question that ends illusions. If you disappear tomorrow, what keeps breathing without you? If the answer is nothing, then nothing belongs to you. That's not an insult, it's a diagnosis. The choice no one escapes. Most people will work their whole life and own nothing. Not because they failed, but because they never questioned the trade. Comfort now, or control later. Most people decide without realizing they decided. Now you know. Bell Wealth Pocket Close Cold, Minimal. This channel isn't here to motivate you. It's here to wake you up. Wealth Pocket.